Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. 60% of Americans are worried about a recession. This is up from 48% back in 2021. These recession fears come from high interest rate environments, the price of goods and services going up. What you used to pay at a grocery store is no longer the cost. Everything has gone up exponentially, even from bread to butter to milk and eggs. And then on the other end, you also have gas prices so much more higher than they were pre-pandemic. I remember when I used to be able to get gas for $2.25. Now, I was shocked when I had to go so far away and I got gas for $2.99. That was a shocker to me. And that was a discounted or prorated rate because that same gas station the next day was at $3.69. Some people are still saying $3.69, I'll take that any day of the week. Me being from New York, I am very familiar with gas prices being at $5. So please understand that I absolutely understand. And I know in California, it must be even worse with the EV push, okay? So I absolutely understand where you're coming from. But how much cash does the average American in the United States today need to be recession ready? I can't say recession proof, but I can say recession ready. So this is a huge one. I'm going to cover 3 different types of situations. I'm going to cover people who are single, living on their own, or maybe even living with a roommate. I'm going to cover people who are a couple, maybe even married or in a relationship. And then lastly, I'm going to cover those who are entrepreneurial spirits, those who own their own business, okay? And that is their only source of income or their main source of income. Now, although this is relative based on your expenses, the first one we're going to cover are those who are single and living maybe on their own. Let's use that as an example, or with a roommate. Someone who is living on their own and single needs to have a cash reserves of at least 6 months expenses. Now, the reason why I say 6 months expenses is because everyone's expenses is different based on their situation. If you're living with a roommate in a college dorm, it's going to be much different than living in a luxury 1-bedroom apartment. And so your 6 months of expenses is what we would call that emergency fund that is going to allow you to weather the storms that may come to pass or may not come to pass. Certain things that people are fearing right now is the job market itself. Now, as we've already illustrated, Congress has told the Fed to keep as many jobs as possible. And that's why the Fed is looking to cut rates, because they know if they do not, more jobs will be lost and the economy will become unstable. And so right now, it sounds good to float around a 1/4 point rate decrease, but it is also very scary knowing that some companies just can't handle the higher interest rates and can't handle the commercial loans that are coming due at such higher rates. So with that being said, with 6 months of expenses, you can definitely look for a new job. You can definitely maybe relocate to a place where there is more work that you like to do. Whether you're an electrical engineer, whether you're a plumber, whatever the case may be, You go where the work is, you go where the money is, and with a 6-month emergency fund, you will be able to have a life. You'll be able to work without the stress or the pressure of the reality of the world that we live in. Now, let's move on to couples. If you are a couple in a relationship, married, boyfriend, girlfriend, 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 boyfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, you would need at least 3 months expenses. So this is different than 6 months of expenses because the likelihood of 2 people losing their jobs at the same time is unlikely unless you're one of those couples that work in the same workplace. Then that likelihood is slightly higher because you're using the same job, the same company to produce an income for your lifestyles. And that can be very, very impactful in a negative way. Because although it benefits you in terms of carpooling and driving to work together and setting schedules, it does not benefit you in terms of job security. You have work relationships, and you also have the fact that if that company goes under, you both lose your jobs at the same time. That is a recipe for disaster. So, barring the fact that you don't both work at the same place, you will be able to have at least one income going while the other person is pulling from that emergency fund, pulling from that reserve to pay their half of the life expenses while they're looking for something new. And that might just last them 6 months versus 3 months because they also have someone maybe adding more to the pot than they normally would just to support that individual in their time of need. Now, there are other factors that can affect people during a recession. Job market applications start to decrease. And we've also ran into a situation where I've already talked about certain jobs having applications that are ghost applications. So they're not actually real applications. These jobs aren't really hiring, and yet people are thinking that they're getting denied for one reason or another. But the truth is, these jobs are just trying to check a box to show that they may be profitable or to show that, they're always looking for top talent, even though they're not. I can guarantee you that I've seen managers, I've worked with people who literally would just call someone or not even call them at all for a job interview and claim that they did because they didn't want to hire anyone, but instead promote from within, which I'm absolutely okay with promoting people from within, but not at the expense of not even interviewing other candidates who may be likely good candidates for the job or better candidates for the job. And so to me, that was, not a good look. And many jobs are doing this today. Many people are doing this today where they're having a bunch of ghost applications. People think that they need to improve their resume, but truly you're applying for jobs that don't exist. And so that is the part that sucks the most. And then lastly, we're going to talk entrepreneurial spirits. A lot of you who are watching this channel, you're investing, you're trying to get your bearings under you, but at the same time, you're also looking to open your own business one way or another, whether it's an auto shop, whether it's a gym, whether it's a music business, whatever the case may be, you want to start a business, whether it's real estate. And in order to be recession ready, you would need 12 months of expenses lined up. And the reason for this is because now you don't rely on a job. You also have to pay your taxes out of your paychecks. You can't wait. You can't wait for your company to do it for you. And then there's also an uncertainty of how much money you'll make. I remember working in certain industries, especially the restaurant industry, where if it would rain, there was less traffic and less business that day. Because Who wants to be caught in the rain, waiting in the rain, hearing those raindrops hit their vehicle at any day and time, or driving on such roads that can get wet, slippery, and they may not have proper tires? So these people are instead just trying to get home, and maybe they're ordering out for the night. You see, so there is a lot of uncertainty in the restaurant industry and in many industries, right? If it rains, how many people are going to come in for a gym subscription that day? Or, anything could happen if another pandemic happened. How many people are going to be able to say that they're an essential worker or staff? It was insane for someone else other than you to dictate whether or not your job is essential to the fabric of our American society. And so to me, that was already a touchy-feely subject where people are literally trying to throw their weight around and tell us how to live our lives. With all these news channels and everything else, trying to tell us how to live our own lives. And so, I understand the fears and I understand the frustrations. Up 12% from just 2 years ago. I understand that we are in a high interest rate environment, and the Fed is now looking to cut that down in order to spur more confidence within the everyday American consumer and within the fabric of our society. But at the end of the day, it may be too little too late. Come September, we'll see how this affects the job market. What this trickle-down effect will do with the higher for longer interest rates. What will actually happen, and how will people be able to adapt and cope to this new and ever-changing environment? So at the end of the day, I understand your worries and I understand your fears. It can be hard to save a lot of money, but this is why we start by creating a budget, living on less than we make, in order to secure our financial freedom. And it starts with getting out of debt and securing a good and fully funded emergency fund. Now, if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I post every single day at 8 a.m. daily on YouTube and on Rumble and on Spotify. And I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.